There's a strong chance you're not that far off from winning in business and at the game of life. It just takes one idea, but you gotta have unwavering belief and burning desire. If you can couple that with a lockdown strategy that's fueled by heart, hustle, and muscle, you got a shot at winning. There's one thing that all champions have in common. They get shit done. So welcome to the Get Shit Done experience. Well, we are back at it again. You are in studio. This is the Get Shit Done experience, also known as the GSDX podcast. You can find us at www.gsdxpodcast.com. We're rolling. Thank you to all those that have subscribed and you've sent notes out to friends and family to kind of chime in and participate in this amazing journey that we're on. We're having a blast. We're bringing on some fantastic guests, and we've got one of them on here today. You want to talk about a serial entrepreneur? We're talking about somebody who started in 2001 as an industrial engineer, mainly dealing in plastics, got together with some partners and started a company called Faspro, and now has another business called Acu Pro. He's been part of several businesses, but we're going to show you a little bit about what he's done. But really today we want to dig into the man, and that man is Mr. Chuck Drews. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Doing good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We are very, very thankful that you came in studio here today. So I always like to understand what in the world makes a person decide to take all the risk, to cash it all in, to say, hey, look, I'm going to go out on my own. Even though you had partners, you're still taking a massive risk. I mean, you're cashing in 401ks, you're putting the second mortgage down, scrapping together every dollar that you can to launch this thing, because you got to have the working capital to get it going.
That's right.
Where does that come from? Like, where does that self-belief? You have to have massive self-belief.
I do. And, well, first I want to say I'm popping my cherry here on this podcast.
Let's go.
I really don't know much about it. Thank you very much. I thought a podcast was something you put on when you break a bone. And then that's the first support. Now I got it.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, so my grandfather, my dad's dad, and my dad, they've been entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So I grew up in that environment. And I always knew I was going to follow in their footsteps some way. So I worked with my dad when I was in college and in high school. He did a lot of rental properties and manufactured homes and stuff like that. And I did some things where I would do the gardening, cut lawns, and do some maintenance for him in the summer. And then when I went to college, I said, okay, I'm going to go into the business aspect. I'm probably going to work with my dad in some aspects. So when I went to college, I took business classes, and then they had a career day. And then I went to career day, and they had this thing called industrial technology, and it was a hands-on type of a feature of what they offered in industrial engineering. And they had these machines. You could roll up your sleeves and check it out. So I got into the plastics injection molding, which they were highlighting in this career day. And I said, I might want to get in this. Man, and I got to go tell my dad, I think I might go into this engineering side. This economics and accounting and these classes like this are not really doing it for me. So when I went to him, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, hey, Dad, this is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to switch my major. He's like, well, good for you. Congratulations. He goes, you're a man now. I'm not going to tell you what to do. He goes, that's what I did. I worked with my dad in the sawdust business. And there was one day he had a voila moment and said, I'm going to go into real estate. And then that's what he did. So then I went through college. I got into the plastic technology enginering. I graduated. I got married right away. Had 3 kids right away.
That's what you do, right?
That's what
that was what people did back then.
I said, okay, I'm 22. I know how everything works.
Yeah.
I got it all figured out. And then I went to work at some plastic companies and things of that nature. And then I always kept my blinders open. My door, I go, I don't know how this entrepreneur business I'm going to have. I might be a hot dog stand.
You could see it, though.
I knew it was going to come. And the main thing that I thought was I didn't know in what form or shape or how it was going to come.
You just kind of let it come to you.
It was going to come. And I go, well, I'm young. However it comes, it comes. It's probably going to be in engineering or something of that nature. So then through my career, I job hopped a lot. I was getting promotions and getting better things. And I remember after my 4th job in this injection molding company, my dad goes, listen, he goes, you don't want to get a reputation for switching jobs and hopping around and things of that nature. He goes, stay here for a little bit, especially in the late 80s, early 90s or 90s in general.
it was about loyalty, like how long have you been in an organization? What's changed now, interestingly enough, is like corporations are kind of like, why have you been there for 8 years? You can only do so much. Why haven't you moved to the next thing? There's always savings, but it's about way more than savings alone. Total Technology Solutions Group redefines managed print services. Excellence is the minimum standard. TTSG is a true managed print service provider, deeply understanding your technology and business goals. Your business is unique. Our solutions are tailored to your current and future business goals. Our customer-first approach empowers and delights. TTSG can ensure your technology environment will scale as your business does. So as you navigate business and constant change, partner with TTSG for premium advisement and seamless implementation of your technology goals. We set the bar high. Your people deserve it. Peace of mind. Powerful innovation. TTSG.com. How the world has changed, right?
That's right. And it has changed. I just always wanted to better myself.
Yeah.
And I was just rolling with the punches, right? And then I had 3 kids, and I was like worrying about them. And then I got my real estate license. I was selling real estate on the side and really hustling. So then 6 months after this last job I got, right after my dad told me you don't want to be hopping around, the administrative assistant, who was part of the engineering team, she comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, Chuck, I play volleyball with this crew of people, and they're by chance happen to be hiring someone who does what you do, estimating and project engineering." And I said, "Listen, Marcia, thanks a lot."
Yeah.
I
think I need to
just
stay
started
here.
here 6 months ago. I go, "I like you. I like everyone that's here." She goes, "Well, I kind of told them about you and this and that." I says, "Why did you do that?" And
So Marcia became your agent all of a sudden.
I'm like, "Oh my!" I go, "No, don't tell them about me." In the back of my head, I hear my dad going, "Don't do it.
Yeah.
Not again." So then I get a call a couple days later from this guy, Mel. He goes, "Listen, Marcia told me about you. We're a production metal stamping house. We do mass production." I go, "Listen, I'm in plastics. I went to college for this, da-da-da-da." He goes, "Listen, just do dinner with me and visit with me. The way she described you would be someone we want in our company." I says, "No, I'm not interested." He kept calling me. Finally, he called me. I'm like, "All right." I go, "I'll meet you. Where are you located?" He's only 2 miles from my house.
Okay.
So I go and visit with him. Showed me around, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and the opportunities as a career-wise going forward were endless. So I said, "Oh my God,
Here we go. Don't tell Dad.
let's do it." So then I did it, and that's when I met my 2 partners who I'm with now. So we were in mass production. Now it's in the late 1990s. Now things in production and in manufacturing in the U.S. were going offshore to low-cost regions like in Asia.
Yeah.
Then this company got bought out. So the company I was working at, with my 2 partners, we started a prototype product development department within this mass production company. And the reason we started that was the owner said, "Hey, I need you guys to get together, figure out how to make prototype parts so we could get on the ground level with big companies."
So the big organization was doing prototypes, short run and long run production.
Just long run.
Just long run.
This company was just
so the
doing
department was coming up with product ideas that could be long run manufactured.
Our customers were like Motorola,
Got it, yeah,
BlackBerry, Samsung, Sony. There was a company called Nokia, if you remember.
Yeah, I
It was-
remember that.
Qualcomm used to make phones. So they were the customers for mass production. So those customers would say, "Too bad we couldn't make just a couple samples, and you could help us engineer it before we invest in all this progressive dies and tooling and da-da-da-da." So the 3 of us then came up with a way to do it, and we did quick turn. Then after a couple years, then things started going to low-cost regions like Asia and Germany and Europe. Then the company was sold. And then I said, "Okay, we got to get a new job." All 3 of us, my current company partners now, we were looking for a job. Then we were at lunch one time, kind of licking our wounds. Going, "What are we going to do? How many interviews were you on?" I was on 5. And I'm interviewing with this guy at a stack of resumes this big. Because everyone was getting laid off around that time.
Yeah.
So then we actually had a whoa-la moment. I go, "Listen." I go, "You know what's not going to go to China and all these low-cost regions? If anything, they're going to rip off our ideas. We're on the front end of ideas and product development and prototype. Why don't we do what we're doing in this department and make a company out of it?" So then we got a lawyer and accountants and figured it out. We refinanced our houses, and we rented a building in Elk Grove. And then that's how we catapulted ourselves off.
And that's Faspro.
And that was Faspro.
All right.
So
I'm going to hold something up to the camera. Here's my camera right here. If you could zoom in on that. Those of you that are listening to this on Apple or Spotify, if you're on YouTube, you're seeing it. But if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, what I am holding up if you remember the Razor phone, and you probably had a Razor phone, and if you're like me, you probably had a girlfriend, now wife, who had the pink Razor phone. And if you remember what that keyboard looked like on there, Faspro was at the forefront of design, engineering, and short run manufacturing of this through Motorola, right?
Through Motorola came to us, so I was knocking on doors.
It's amazing.
With our old company, we had a non-compete, right? Non-disclosure.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a blessing in disguise. I'm like, man, I can't even go to my old customers, but it made me hunt for new customers in new markets and new industries, and Motorola was one of them. And this guy finally answered my call, and he goes, listen, Chuck, he goes, we got this idea for this keypad, but everyone thinks we're crazy because to make that in mass production, it's very hard to do. It's a different type of process. It's called chemical etching is how we do that.
Okay.
I said, oh, yeah, we know how to do it. We'll figure it out. I go back to my partners like,
they're like, what did you just do?
What are you doing? I go, listen, we refinanced our houses.
Yeah.
We got 6 months to make this work.
Yeah.
My dad's ready to kill me. He told me, okay, this is up to you. You're going to be living back in our house if it doesn't work with 3 more kids. Oh, my God. So we figured out a way to make this part. So it took us a year to develop it. So it's a phosphor bronze part. We went to a watch manufacturer. As you could see, that part you were holding up, it's kind of a starburst off the navigation key. You see how it kind of, when the light hits it, it does that. So we can't, to make a long story short, over a couple of years, we came up with this design. They said, thank you very much. Can you make us some samples for photo ops and for commercials and for billboards? We said, yeah. They said, okay, thank you for taking a chance on us. Motorola said, you're going to be an extension of our model shop. And I'm like, yeah,
let's go.
We kind of did it. So then I was kind of happy, and we were all celebrating one time with me and my friends, and I was telling them about this. I go, check this out. I think this company's going to make it. We came up with this idea. And my guys, they're giving me, they're razzing me and dazzing me. Oh, look at this, big shot, this and that. So then it was a late night on a Friday. I wake up Saturday morning. I was up to like 4 a.m. on Friday celebrating about this. I get a phone call, and it's a guy with a Chinese accent. He's like, oh, Mr. Chuck, I need to talk to you. You make the Razor phone for Motorola? And I thought it was my buddy, so I was playing with it. I go, listen, I don't have time for this, Dave. I got to go hang up on him.
Yeah.
So that Monday, I happened to be the one to open up the shop, 7 a.m. I get to the shop, and we got a big dock door, and there's a car sitting in the driveway, and then there's 2 Chinese guys sitting in the front seat with cameras around their neck and McDonald's wrappers in the back seat.
Yeah.
I knock on their door and I go, can I help you? And they're like, oh, are you Mr. Chuck?
Thank God they were resilient, huh?
I go, well, I didn't even know who was it.
Yeah.
I forgot about what happened.
Yeah.
I was, I had
celebrations.
I was celebrating. I kind of forgot what was going on.
Pickled.
You hang up on us. Yeah. And I go,
oh.
I go, yeah. I thought you were from China. We are. When you hang up on us, my boss told me you get down to Faspro and you find out how they make these parts. Because what happened was Motorola went to a big contract manufacturer to have the first 50,000 of these produced in 7 different languages. These guys in China had a way that they thought they were going to make these, and it was the wrong way. And the tooling they made kept breaking and breaking.
So were you able to sell them tooling as well?
No, it wasn't about a tool. This is a chemical etching process where you it's acids and masking and things of that nature, because those details are so fine.
They're so fine.
If you were to punch that with metal punches, they would break. And that's what was happening. So they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. So Motorola had to get this to T-Mobile in these languages. They were advertising it. They had to be there.
Yeah.
So I said, listen, guys, I can't let you in the shop. But since you came all this way, I'll tell you, the way you're doing it is not the way to do it. It's a chemical etching process. And then they took off. They got back on the plane, went back to China. They weren't even allowed to get a hotel room.
Yeah.
Then a bigwig, about 3 hours later, calls me from Motorola. He goes, listen, did you have some people come over and visit you? I said, hold on. I go, I'm sorry. Send them back over. Thinking, oh my God, they just told me I'm going to be an extension of their model shop. Yeah. I said, I kicked these guys out. Oh my God. He goes, no. That's their problem. He goes, can you make 50,000 of those or 500,000 in 7 different languages? I go, yeah. Well, yeah, we can do it.
Figure it out.
And then once again, I went back to my partners going, all right, guys, here's the deal.
Chuck is the yes and guy.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. And then, and that was kind of, and then we did it. We came up with a way to do it. We were sleeping in the shop and making it happen. And then this gave us some breathing rooms to pay off our loans, to be able to market ourselves, to buy other equipment. Then 9/11 happened.
Oh, geez.
And that was kind of like, oh my God. And then things were going to China. A lot of businesses were going out of business. So then it was good for us because we were then involved with a lot of auctions. So we were buying equipment for pennies on the dollar to be able to start up our company and then move forward from there.
Okay. So where does this yes and philosophy, because this is now in your story 3 times, somebody asked you to do something. You didn't know how to do it. Let's be honest.
No.
But you said yes, and then you figured it out. That is like the purest get shit done attitude that could possibly exist. So where does that come from? Was that you as a kid? Like, or did you develop that, or did you get so much knowledge that you just could bet on yourself like that?
Well, it ramped up because, you know what, we started the business. I go, I like this, being able to do things on my terms and make as much money as I can. But there's a lot of risk.
Sure.
Risk, upside.
No risk it, no biscuit.
No, that's the way it goes. And some people are afraid of that. They don't want to do it. But I had 2 great partners. One is Igor and Brett and some other guys. So these guys, can really bring it on and can really make it happen. And the 3 of us together can really make it happen. In fact, thinking of make shit happen, my motto is make it happen.
Love
my
it.
Employees, I got it everywhere in the shop. Make it happen. Period.
There we go. Right back to it again, folks. If you're an entrepreneur, you own a small business, you need to have your core values visible. First off, you have to establish core values. Then you have to make them visible. You can't expect your employees to carry out your core values if they don't know what they are and they can't see them so that it becomes conscious and subconscious and they're living them out on a daily basis. That's how you create that energy, right?
It is. In a company, a lot of people kind of do what we do. A lot of people do. There's a lot of companies that do certain things in manufacturing and certain other things. But every company is like a family. Every company has a culture and a personality.
Yeah.
Our culture was make it happen.
Yeah.
And we're a small company.
So you hired people that had that philosophy?
You got it, but you don't know until they start working for you, right? So you hired some people, they interview good, their resume looks awesome. And then some people look, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I got to go. Oh, I go, well, these people haven't paid us. Can you ask them for money? Well, I thought I'm just I'm a buyer.
This guy,
I'm this. I go, well, we're not that. So then it's like you'll realize these people. In fact, I had at the old company that we all 3 of us met, there was a girl I hired, and she was awesome. And I always thought when we get big, I'm going to hire her back with us when we're able to afford her when we get to that. So like 10 years later, after we're in the business, I reached out to her and I said, hey, Susie, you want to come? Oh, I love you, Chuck. I would love to come and work for you. So when she came to work with us, she was working for the old company who became huge in corporate so much that she changed her personality.
Really?
It was 8, 12,
so she
1,
didn't
5.
fit. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. I felt so bad because I kind of took her out of there. And from what I remember her from 10 years ago was different. She didn't fit the culture of the personality.
She had been indoctrinated into the corporate USA.
And
get here on time, leave on time, go to lunch at this time.
That's not my job description.
Yeah.
We don't have
job I don't do that.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, I never did that before.
Yeah.
And it kind of got in the way with us being successful. And unfortunately, I kind of told her, hey, this is the way we do things, and she changed and I changed and we came back 10 years later and it was different. So it's very important you have people that fit your personality. They may check all the boxes on the resume and what all their experiences, but you got to have the personality and the culture that makes you successful, and people have got to be that way. We don't say, hey, work 9 to 5. You got a job to do. You got to do it.
Get it done.
If you want to take a couple days off and you can still get that job done, get it done.
Yeah. So you work on deadlines. Just get the thing done.
Work on deadlines. The name Faspro, right?
Yes.
There's supposed to be a T in it, but at the time when we were thinking about the company name, there was already a Fastpro with a T in it for a website, right? So you're like,
Fastpro, it's faster to say. There's one less letter.
It's one less letter. People think I'm saying Bass Pro. They don't know what the hell I'm saying.
Your hats aren't selling as well as Bass Pros are.
No. So but the Fastpro is fast prototype, fast production. So that's what separates us from a lot of people can do stuff like this, but our customer service, we answer the phone. We get quotes out within 24 hours. We get product out within 5 days, and we charge a premium for that. And we can, because no one does it like that.
I'm hearing more and more the differentiator for businesses is the personal touch.
It is.
It's amazing. I have this philosophy that I think I've seen enough to think that it actually is true. When folks zig, you should zag, right? And I think that so many companies have gone to this system. This is the way. This is our approach, and the companies that have really installed this technology-driven focus, they tend to lose their personal touch, their human experience, that customer service, one-on-one connection, the brand community type thing. They lose that for how much can we make? How much can we do? Right?
Yeah.
And they lose that personal touch. And the more I talk to CEOs and founders like you who held true to that core value that they started the business with, it's we're going to run through walls for you. What's the difference? The price is going to be similar. The technology might be similar. A lot of people could do this, but the difference is we're going to run through walls for you. We're going to answer the phone when you call. It's going to be done with a personal touch.
And it's competitive. We're going to be faster. We're going to be more responsive. And like I said, but we're a little bit more expensive than the average guy.
You pay for what you get to.
But you pay with what you get. And we take problems off of our customers because we're dealing with engineers who are dealing with big projects.
Yeah.
And the little select space that we're doing stuff for them, it's like less of a hassle.
Yeah,
for
you're
them.
taking plates off their table.
And they're like, okay, we'll pay the extra because Chuck's got this. I just throw it over the fence and it'll show up here next.
It's like hiring the best employee they could ever hire, right?
It is.
It's going to get done. So what's the collaboration process look like with Brett and Igor?
Like as far as what's like the roles?
Yeah, I mean, partnerships, especially 50-50 partnerships tend to struggle because nobody ever is really the decision maker. Yeah. So it becomes hard, right? 33 might even become more difficult because now you got a 2 versus 1 scenario that could potentially happen.
That's true. That's
you're not playing man-to-man coverage. You're playing zone defense, right? It becomes a little different. So for companies to succeed with multiple partners like that, there's got to be a way that you guys play nice together, that you collaborate really well together. What is that process like? Have you fallen into your categories where hey, that's a Chuck has that? Like if he says that's the way, we all kind of go, yeah, that's the way. And then Igor's got his thing, right? Like
that's right.
How does that work? What's the collaboration process?
And that's a great question because when we started the company or we were thinking about it, you heard all these horror stories. Oh, I started a company with my brother-in-law, my best friend. Mm-hmm. We don't talk anymore. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. So we started off as a working relationship at the old company we worked at, and we became friends. So like I said, when we started the company, I said, why don't we do what we're doing in this department? Where we weren't tripping or walking over each other. Yeah. We depended on each other.
You were in your system.
We were in our system, and we just transferred that system over. And we overlap, but we also have our own unique
like
skills.
The Olympic rings.
Like exactly. That's exactly what I picture when you say that. So it's like the Olympic rings, and thank God, there's days we don't see each other. We're just doing our things. We trust in each other. We know we're going to get each other done. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, it's like a funnel, and then everything just streams out. Yeah. So we were blessed to work with each other. But it's very important that, and no one's got these egos or this and that. And we know our roles. And I'm more of, I got a personality. I'm an engineer, so I could walk the walk, talk the talk. Igor, who is brilliant, he could build a space shuttle or an atomic bomb, and he gets stuff out. So that's why, like when we got that Razor phone, I'm like, yeah, we could do it. And I'm like, Igor,
I can't do it, but he can.
Yeah, we can. And then we kind of got excited about it, and we just kind of know and it just evolved into that. Thank God.
Igor's like the Kraken. Bring in the Kraken. Exactly. He's got it.
Yes. And then Brett is like, he's got a photographic memory. Okay. He's like a project guy, and he's good with dealing with vendors and people and project people. So it's just, we're blessed that we were brought together, and it's amazing. Yeah. And then how it just morphed into here we are 30 years later doing this thing.
So when it's the three of you, pre-employee, hire one, right? It's the three of you. It's probably a little bit easier at that point to know who fills what gap. because you had worked together, and it's almost like you don't even have to speak it. You just kind of know. You just like,
we just kind of
you're the shortstop, no doubt. You play center, definitely you're pitching, right? You just kind of know that
That's
because
a
you've
good
been
way
around.
to put it.
But then you start hiring people, and people have a tendency to know how to play people. So they know how to, if mom says no, I go ask dad.
Yeah.
Right? So how does that change? You start hiring people. How does it change now the management style? Because what you're talking about is more of a the technical part, like the technicalities of what you do. This type of product is probably going to go to Chuck. This type of design feature is probably going to go to Igor. But now we're talking about management of people. How do you get that message across that you come to me for this, but you go to Igor for that, and you go to Brett for this? Like, how do you start to define that so the employees understand what the dichotomy of the relationship is?
And it's so, like for me, like engineering and on the sales side and customer service, it kind of was like, okay, I'm going to get those kind of people.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire those people. And of course, they're going to interview with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hands-on. And like we said, we don't have we don't have a description of your role, or a lot of people are like, hey, well, what do I do on a daily basis? I want it all. I go, well, we don't have that. Well, that's,
So you're hiring people you want to be entrepreneurs.
People, we don't even actually know how they're going to fit.
Yeah.
Number one was the personality and the culture. And after hiring a few people, we got to the point where we would rather train people. I'd rather teach a new dog new tricks than an old dog a new trick.
Because you got to unravel what they were taught.
You got to unravel what they taught, and hopefully they weren't taught too much.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a brain and you could learn and have a willingness to learn, and I always tell the people, I go, don't look at this like you're working for me. I go, look at this like your own business. I don't know where this company is going. I don't know how big it's going to get. I don't know what type of manager or what type of position you'll have in the future. It'll be big if you succeed. If you see areas you could fill in, go ahead. So I wanted people who kind of had an entrepreneur spirit.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know it. We kind of knew the roles.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how it would mesh together.
But the roles aren't like stingent defined.
No,
it's
they got more like that.
Yeah, they got more as you grow.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Do you believe more in a culture fit or a culture add?
Culture fit, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
You mean like as far as the employees fitting in the culture? I think that's the hardest part. I mean, it's like your personality or your hobbies and stuff. That's what it is. If you don't like golfing and I do, I'm not going to teach you to like it. You got to fit this personality, this culture, and it's easier for me or us to shape you with your skills and responsibilities and all that stuff. If you have a willingness to you have to be willing to learn, not just to collect a paycheck.
See, I'll push back just a smidge on that because I see the benefit in both. But what I found was when you're trying to build a team, right? You're trying to build people that you're trying to build a team of people that can cover all angles. And sometimes when you hire a fit, strictly a fit, they do have a tendency to do what you said that you didn't like, which was to kind of just fill that like, well, I don't do that part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
we can see that.
And so there's this fine line between a fit and an ad that I keep going back internally. I keep going back and forth with, do I want to fit or do I want to add? I think that I've said both on podcasts before. I said,
it is both, but
I think it is both.
I took it as if I had to pick one over the other.
Yeah.
Or one that weighed more than the other.
Yeah. And I think that for me, it's like the balance. I think it keeps shifting for me. I love the idea of an ad because I want people to come in here that bring their own attributes that could bring something unique and different to the organization that we don't have.
For sure.
But I also like the idea of in a specialized market, when you're hiring somebody, you're hiring because you probably need that thing. So if there's a way to get them technically to fit, but from a personality standpoint and additional attributes to be an ad, like they bring something fresh and new and creative that we don't have currently in the building, I think that that's like the ultimate hire.
It is, but you don't know that until over time.
Right.
No, that ad part morphs itself.
So maybe I'm thinking,
no, you're right about that.
Maybe you do hire a fit. Maybe you do hire a fit, and then you try and bring out the ad.
Well, like that story I told you earlier with the girl who used to work for me, that was an ad.
Yeah.
But then she changed, and I kind of changed my ways, and then it didn't fit.
Interesting, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, because we were trying the ad thing. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But when you articulate it that way, I'm thinking, okay, we're adding things. So then I said, okay, let's do the fit thing. I didn't consciously say it, but I think that's what I was thinking.
It's an interesting concept because I think there's merit for both angles.
No, eventually you need
both. You need both.
Yeah, you need both. But when I'm going to interview you, and then I got to make a decision in a week.
You're going fit first.
Yeah, fit. Then hopefully the ad comes in,
Yeah.
and then the ad could surprise you, right?
Yeah.
There's people that are working for us. I'm like, wow, look at that talent. He's like, what talent? They go, I didn't know you could do stuff like that, or you could talk like that, or hey, maybe you could help us make some marketing materials, or maybe I need someone at a trade show that could be I can't handle all you, and you're coming with me to the trade show. You get a good way to communicate. People like you. So then the ad just morphs, and that's how we get.
So the ad would be for anyone who's listening, who's at an employee level. The ad is your way to career path, because if you can show you could do more, that makes you more valuable, and potentially you invent your next role.
And some people don't even know what they could add.
Yeah.
Some people don't know their potential. And that's the thing as a manager, as a boss, as an owner, you have to let people, you got to have guardrails, but pretty nice big ones, and let them
kind of play in between.
Kind of play and not micromanage, not let them look over your shoulder. Yeah. And when they come and talk to you, you got to be, you're loyal to them. Like when I'm with my employees, like no one knows I'm the owner of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's probably going to be exposed after being on here. But, when I meet with customers, most of them don't know. I'm an engineer. I'm a sales guy. Oh, Chuck, your price is a little high. You think you're like, oh, geez, I'm going to go talk to my boss.
Yeah.
That's.
Then you go look at the mirror.
Yeah.
Chuck, can I do better? Chuck, yes, you can.
Yeah, guys. And it's just a nice way. And it sometimes intimidates people. And my employees, when I'm with them, or I'm visiting customers out of town, like I'm going to Germany Saturday, we got a big trade show we're doing, and bringing some employees. These people work with me. I don't introduce myself. Hey, I'm the boss. These guys, we work together. We're on the same level.
Yeah, that's
the way I treat people.
Yeah, that's great.
So
you sold me. I'm going to change my perspective on it, because I had been a culture ad, but I think the way you just said it makes a ton of sense. You don't know that they're an ad until you get them in the role. And then once you see they can be an ad, then it's up to you as a manager to bring that out of them.
Like a parent.
Yeah. Nurture them into it. IT decision makers, this might sting. Frustrated with IT issues, security threats, and the stress of your technology infrastructure? Your technology should blend seamlessly with your business objectives. Technology infrastructure management with limited resources can be exhausting and counterproductive. Do you have an MSP but still have problems and technical hiccups? GSD's advisement, proactive maintenance, cutting-edge cybersecurity, cloud solutions, data backup, and local 24/7 help desk can change the game. Your technology should outpace your business operations to allow for growth, and proactive strategies should prevent issues before they arise. Get back your time and your money with GSD. Drive business forward. Leave the technology to GSD. GSDnow.com.
Nurture them, but you always got to keep, like, to start a business. You could say, okay, I went to school for plastics. I'm going to be in plastics. when I own a business, it's going to be in plastics. Here I am, and if you would have told me 30 years ago, I'd be sitting here talking to you about this, I'd be like, you're nuts. But I always kept my options open, and I do the same thing with the people I work with, the people who work for me. Is let's just see where this goes. Let's take the reins off.
No expectations.
No expectations.
Yeah.
You got your guidelines and what your responsibilities and your accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see where it goes from there. And then you could be surprised. And people surprise themselves. Sometimes people are like, man, Chuck, you really brought the best. I've had people tell me that. And it's a compliment. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad I'm not just, are we making money? We're making each other better people.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned your father, your grandfather. You clearly have a great relationship with your business partners. Who's been, maybe outside of that circle, who's been tremendously impactful in your growth, in your maturation process? A mentor, somebody, could be a baseball coach or a football coach in high school, somebody that if you look back, you go, man, a lot of the way I do things, I probably got from my time with that person.
Yeah. Well, my dad is number one. I know you want to go up, but that's definitely what made me feel, because when I was with him, I knew nothing else than how he did things. Mm-hmm. So I said, he owns a business, we're going to own a business. That's the way it's going to go. So sometimes being ignorant of not having, what you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
But I would say probably the owner of the company we all came from.
Okay.
The way he managed, because he let me be me. The other companies I worked for, I always felt like I was being watched or being judged, or if I had an idea, I would be cut off short. This guy was awesome. He would be like, Chuck, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't think he really. He just wants me to think.
What a powerful question to ask an employee. What do you think?
It was awesome.
It's such an easy thing, but you just gave permission for them to be creative, for them to showcase their knowledge. Like, it's a great question.
It was, and I can remember the first time he told me in his office, and I was estimating a big job, and he goes, okay, you know this customer, you've estimated a few. He goes, do you think that price is good?
You want to know what I think?
You want to know what I think? Okay, here's my opinion. And he's like, all right, let's take that in consideration. And I go, wow, that felt good.
Yeah, you skipped out of there like, hell yeah.
Well, and then he relied on me more, and my ideas came through, and like you said, hey, I need you guys to start a prototype in the department and figure out how to wait. He goes, figure it out. Here's your budget.
So he just empowered you.
It empowered me. I didn't feel restrained or like I was in a straitjacket like the other companies, but you just thought that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So I would say him is.
So you take that with you now in what you're doing.
I do. I never really thought about it until you asked me, but it's always in the back of my mind. And I said, I'm going to treat people like this guy treated me. And then, awesome. I would dive on a grenade for him in the foxhole. And that's the way a lot of the people are with us.
So as it relates to the business and to our listeners, something that we could learn from you, like what is your best business attribute? What are you awesome at? And you're awesome at it, so don't be humble and tell me that I don't know. Like there's a part of the business where you're just absolutely, that's your thing. Nobody steps on your toes on this thing. You're the final say. What are you awesome at?
Well, there's a lot of things, John. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that.
I would say my personality, my communication, and my technical skills that accompany that. Normally you don't see all that, and people's trust in me and their loyalty to me. I mean, I really people. In fact, sometimes I'm shocked where people are like, all right, if you think we should do it that way, let's do it. I'm like, okay, I'm not even half sure, but I guess so. So I would just say my personality and comfortability with people. People have a very calm, just comfortability with.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You have an energy about you. I mean, when I walked up to meet you in the lobby, there's some people that just kind of radiate personality. I could just tell right away.
Well, people used to tell me that. Like when we started the company, I wanted to be an engineer and design and do this,
behind the scenes.
That. And people, and my two partners now and other people are like, man, you got to
be out front, man.
He goes, look at people are gravitating to you. And then we started doing trade show years ago, even before the company. It's like, look, there's a line of people here. He goes, people seem to be coming towards you, attracted to you, just because of the way your personality is. And I tell them the truth, and I kind of have the technical abilities to go along with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it is. It's not, there's nothing.
But by the way,
it's a God-given thing.
It's a God-given thing. And when God gives you something, you better use it. You were meant to use it.
Well, and I didn't think I was. I didn't think I had that.
Yeah.
When you're born with this, if you're a great golfer and you become a golf pro, it's like, wow, this is easy for me. Or this. But this was just, I go, really? I go, talking to people is, you guys having trouble with this?
Shocking how many people do, though.
It is, and can communicate, and then also give a trustworthy, personality.
And being somebody who's trained on the technical side. It makes it very easy for you to come across as natural as an advisor, because you're not selling, you're just talking your expertise.
I'm solving problems.
That's it.
And I'll tell people, you know what, this price point ain't working for you, this and that. I've recommended people to our competitors and said, you know what, these guys are kind of better for you.
Yeah.
I go, we're a little bit too much for you, or, oh, you want this, what, as much as I want your business, this, you should go that route, because
trying to help the person.
I want to help people.
Yeah.
And I get as excited when I get a purchase order now as when I did the first one we ever got, and it's about people. And when we solve a problem for people and they send me an email saying, thank you very much, or any of our employees, I go, that's what I like.
Yeah, that's it. The cool thing is when you are capable of developing business and building relationships and partnerships, you can do that. You can, if you're grasping at straws to get your next sale, it's tough to go, hey, they'd be better for you. But when you've got a business that is beyond solvent, is growing and sustaining, and you're bringing in great partnerships that are lasting, and you're doing such great work for them that they're probably referring other people to come work with you. At that point, it makes it much easier for you to hold to that line of, hey, look, we're not right for you. And to be very selective as to who you take on so you can maintain that level of satisfaction.
And it has, and it's maybe for that certain project we're not right, but that person's like, wow, this guy steered me in the right direction.
So they come back.
Guess what? I get more business. Or they go to a different company.
Yeah.
Hey, remember me? And I don't remember everybody, but well, not really. He goes, I worked here and there, and we worked on this project you recommended. Hey, you always made an impression on me. I want to come back, and,
that's awesome.
and you haven't. And that's where I kind of started. There's that other company, Acu Pro.
Mm-hmm.
This is my baby, but Acu Pro started where I saw opportunity where, like after 9/11, things became tightened up, and the way business was done kind of changed. Where like buyers and engineers were handling projects. Before they were just saying, okay, you buy plastic, you buy metal.
It was that conveyor belt process. Now they're having to do it all.
Now, we got to tighten the belt. You got to be, you got to have more variety in what you do. So I was noticing, man, people have projects. And in the Chicagoland area where we are, like Elk Grove, Bensonville, we have such a huge concentration of mom and pop shops.
Oh my gosh.
Ourselves. We could do anything here.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, I used to go to companies like in California, Silicon Valley, and this and that. In Florida, there's a lot of avionics, aerospace, government defense, all well-named companies that I can't believe I'm doing business with them, but I am. And I would say, why the hell are they coming to Chuck in
Elk Grove?
Heights?
Yeah.
Don't they? Because anything I want done
Can't
here,
be,
you know what I'm talking about?
You should be. But I mean, those of you that are out of state listening to this, you literally could drive to Elk Grove. You could take a right on a street and drive down it, and probably cover about 19 things that you need for your business.
You can build a car, anything.
I mean, there is so much industry in Elk Grove and Bensonville. So many shops,
One-stop shop.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
And then so as things changed in the early 2000s, where we were handling projects, we just didn't become a metal fabricator in engineering and design. I said, let's solve all these people's problems. We got all these network of people that we've developed relationships with over the years.
Yeah.
We know where to go. And that's where the Acu Pro comes. Now I kind of, with that end of the business, I handle projects. People are like, hey, I want to build this thing. I want to make this thing. And then
from design,
design, different, maybe they want it painted and powder coated and welded and hardware inserted, and they want plastics, which I know. I know all these people, but I know how to trust them, and I know how to work with them. So people are like, they just dump a project on me.
Yeah.
Faspro is more metal fabricating than some other
your lane
and design. So I incorporate them, and then with the Acu Pro side of the business, I handle the projects, and I could solve problems for these people because of the relationships I built with my vendors and other people in this area. And I'm, we're only a couple miles away from visiting them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is the vision for Acu Pro? I know that Faspro's the collective group. Acu Pro is your personal organization, 100% owner of that. What's the vision for that?
That is, I'm just handling these projects, and
is it
letting me be more. See, like at Faspro, I kind of spreading my wings a little bit. Now I'm still heavily involved, but there's these projects I wanted to handle.
Are they more creative projects?
They're kind of more creative, but they involve people and coordinating people. And I think that's
you like
fun.
that.
I like people.
Yeah.
And watching this, but other people with expertise that if they don't work or they can't, make this happen, then this project is going to go down. So for me to be the coordinator, the maestro, and to bring this all together, and all these people that I network with are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, there's a lot of companies that do what you do. There's a lot of companies and vendors you deal with that do what you do, but they got to be fast. They got to be customer orientated. So I've assembled these people, and they're kind of hard to find if you don't know where to find. Yeah. and companies, and I call them up. We call each other anytime. We call on Saturdays and Sundays and this and that. I got a hot job, this and that. And, some people like, oh, it's Saturday. What are you calling me for? I said, but there's people like, well, screw you. I'm going to go with this guy because
he answered.
Yeah, and he wants to make things happen.
Yeah.
So now I got suppliers and vendors, make it happen, that are on the same culture and personality as my employees are. So this Acu Pro lets me get the creative side or spreading.
You kind of do light up a little bit when you talk about it.
I do.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, half of me goes, I can't wait till I retire, and then the other half goes, what the hell am I
going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. What hobbies do you have, Chuck? What hobbies are we doing?
What do I like fishing. I'm a fisherman.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my get away from it. Because a hobby you have to be able to get away from it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to absorb in yourself and think about other things and strategize. And that's what I kind of do. I know people go, you don't golf. I have 2 metal hips. I have 2 hip replacements.
Yeah, probably not a great sport for that.
No, but I still can. But so funny story. The reason for golf, since we brought it up, you got a second?
I do. We got plenty of seconds, Chuck. We are on a show, baby.
So my first job out of college was at this plastic company. I was a little cocky.
Okay.
Because when you leave college, you go, okay, I went 4
world
years.
Is mine.
I got a degree.
Yeah. World is mine, baby.
Mean?
Yeah.
Who wants to hire me? You know? But you don't, that just gets your foot in the door of college. And I tell my
kids
you
got to do stuff.
Yeah, that's now if I were to get a new job, I wouldn't even show them where I went to college. It's about what have I done lately.
Getting the job is one thing. Doing the job is another.
Doing it and the experience. So I started with this job. So when I was in college, I had a internship with Wilson Sporting Goods.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
In the plastic side. So it was really kick ass over there. So I was working with the golf ball department and the tennis rackets and the shoes. So we would part of my thing was so a golf ball, it has dimple and it has different chemistries and recipes to make a golf ball. The inside of it,
the core of it.
There's the core and then there's the outside, the skin. So the skin is the most important part. So there's all these millions and millions different type of combinations. But PGA says with all these combinations, you got to stay within these boundaries.
Otherwise, it's not tournament ready.
If you use too much rubber or too much neoprene, you can make that ball fly around.
So it's got to compress the right amount.
It's got to compress, and you got to only use certain amounts of these different types of chemistry that go into it. So there's so many different combinations. You'll never do them all. So part of my internship was to get the core and then mold the outside what the engineer wanted us to mold, and we would mold all these different kinds. And I would mold when they weren't looking. We would take golf balls that would go 600 yards.
Oh yeah.
So they had
this
like
some of those
windmill
left over. I
apparatus.
got a tournament coming up.
I wish I did. I gave them all away.
Man, those things
we made tennis rackets that would take a tennis ball and go 150 miles an hour if you string it right, and it was all out of Kevlar in the head. But you all had to stay within these. So anyway, so they had a company store, and then I said you could buy things for pennies on the dollar. So I didn't golf. I go, one day I'll golf. I bought a Sam Snead golf bag and golf clubs for like $8. Had them in my car for a couple of years. So then I fast forward. I started this new company. It's almost Good Friday. So every year he has the owners of RCA. You remember the TV?
RCA, yeah.
They're from Japan. They would come. They were the biggest customer. They would come in every year to do golfing on Good Friday. So I was just there for a few months. The owner comes to me, big strapping man. He's like, hey, he goes, do you golf? And I'm like, yeah. I think of how hard is golf?
Yes, and.
Yeah. And so my manager, who was really cool, Mike, he's looking at me like, I didn't know he golfed. So he goes,
golf.
I need you Good Friday. He goes, they're coming in and there's a tournament. It's a whole day thing. Then we go to the club and we do this, and that. And I said, okay, I got these nice shiny golf clubs. I'm thinking to myself, I'll go to the golf range, figure it out. So my boss goes, you golf? I'm like, well, I worked at Wilson Sporting Goods.
Yeah, I mean, that qualifies me, right?
I got Sam Snead golf clubs. I'm like, so I go, I golf. So
Chuck, Sam is not going to swing the club for you.
I did, no. Now I know that.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't golf now, because I got PTSD. So what I did, I went to the golf club, right? I'm practicing golfing. And, I got 3 kids. I'm on a limited budget. So he goes, make sure you get some golf balls. I go to the golf store, buy these Titleist golf balls. And they're, $12. I don't know what they cost.
Bellatas at that point. You're probably getting the Bellatas. If you bladed the thing and put a smiley face in it, remember those golf balls?
Yes.
The real soft ones? God, if they could bring those back, they were awesome.
That would have been perfect for me. But these balls were so expensive. So I said, you know what? This is too expensive. I went back to the range. I was practicing on the range. I had a few days to practice.
Yeah.
So I went into the range basket and I picked out the cleanest balls and I threw them in my bag. So here it is, Good Friday.
Oh my God, your boss is terrified.
We go to the golf range or the golf club. I don't have golf shoes or anything. I'm wearing my Michael Jordan shoes, right? So we pull up. These guys get out of the limo.
Oh yeah,
they got the knickers on.
Decked to
they
the
got
nines.
the plaid.
Oh
the
yeah,
hat.
Dressed like Payne Stewart.
Now my heart's going.
Yeah.
I go, man.
I got the wrong fit on.
I'm thinking I don't want to show these guys up. They're all serious. I was awesome at the range, and the boss looks at me, and the owner goes, "You golf, right?" I go, "Yeah." I'm thinking I nailed it at the range. So we go to the tee. He goes, "All right, age before beauty." I was a young guy at the time. He goes, "All right, tee off." I teed off. It was a great hit.
No kidding.
Yeah,
all right.
It was pretty good.
Under pressure, baby.
Ass. So then, as we're walking, I don't know any of the rules, and it was raining that day. So I go to my ball the next time, right? He goes, "Okay, it's your turn again," right? So I take a tee out of my bag.
My God, Chuck.
I put the tee down, and I'm kind of looking at all these clubs going,
Which one? Oh,
this
my
one
God.
looks
It's a
good.
nightmare.
They're leaning on their golf clubs going. So then the owner goes, "You ain't going to hit that ball, are you?" I go, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "There's a red stripe on that ball. It's from a range." And I'm thinking, how do you know it's from a range? He goes, "Because there's a red stripe on it." I thought you golfed.
God.
He goes, "Don't kick me out of this." He goes, "You don't have balls?" I go, I'll go,
Yeah,
"No."
I got 50 of them. I
"They're
got a
nice and
bucket.
clean." He goes, "You can't hit those." And he goes, "And what's it doing on the tee?"
Yeah.
I go, "Don't you use it for everything but putting?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Get it off the tee." And then it went downhill from there.
Oh, he went downhill from there?
Well, then I never hit a ball off the grass. I was always hitting it off the tee.
Hitting off the tee. I mean,
I
why
only
not?
went to the range.
Yeah.
I thought this
and they had the little rubber tee, and you figure you just put it on that every time.
I had a million tees.
Yeah.
He gives me a thing of balls. I lose all the balls. There were bets going on. I lost all this money. I was.
They were loving you.
I was sweating.
I'm sure.
Because this was competitive.
Yeah.
And I didn't, in best ball or whatever, I still don't know what the hell I was doing. So then the owner goes, we finally get done. I lost all my balls. I think my score was 200 and something. And we get back to the club, and my manager goes, "Dude, you're fired." He goes, "This is a big deal for him. This is our biggest customer." He goes, "I thought you golfed." Oh, pissed off. So they're all changing in the locker room. I didn't change. I wore them the same clothes I wore.
Yeah.
So I go to the bar, and the Japanese guys come, walking out, and they're laughing.
Oh, God, they probably loved you. Oh, they loved you.
"Chuck, you're funny, man. You shoot 200. You get your money's worth, Chuck. You got your money's worth. How you feel?"
Yeah.
And they're we buy you a drink.
Oh, they loved you.
Loved me.
Yeah.
The owner
because you were
walks
you.
on, pissed off.
You were just you.
I was me.
Then the owner was like, "Oh, my God, Chuck's the savior."
They like him.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're so lucky you got this job."
You're so lucky. That is just an amazing
But the
story.
last 3 hours of the golf game or whatever it is, I got so fired. But anyway, so I go, "That's it. No more golf.
Yeah.
I'm fishing."
Fishing is probably the better. You still wear the Jordans to fish?
No, I don't do that. They were after a while. I wish I saved them.
Yeah, I'm surprised Nike hasn't come out with the Jordan fishing shoe yet. They've got everything else.
I got to pitch that though.
All right, so amazing story. I don't know how to segue from that, but let's segue this way. So everyone that we've had on the show has a way. I think your way is probably just to be a super infectious, energized communicator. But you probably have a way of a style of getting shit done. If you could, in so many words, explain like the way that you look at a problem and how you get to a solution. Is there a way that you specifically attack? And it could be, hey, we're going to bag up leaves for the fall. It doesn't matter what the thing is. If you do it one way for one thing, you probably do it that way for another thing. So how do you solve problems? How do you attack problems and get shit done?
Good question, and it's probably not the best advice for people, but for me it works. I kind of procrastinate.
Really?
I kind of do.
Okay, this is going to be
like if
I want to see how you bring this one back.
Like you said about the leaves. All right, the leaves are falling. My wife will go, "Well, why don't you start chipping at them now?" I said, "Well, there's going to be more falling and this and that." And then all of a sudden the first snowfall's on the way. And I don't procrastinate that much, but the pressure of a timeline to me,
it doesn't work.
I have a lot. If I, it's going to take me 3 days to do this problem, but I have 3 weeks. I ain't working on it right now.
Yeah. So you work under pressure. You like the pressure.
would be the way. I don't know. Procrastinating is the
you
way.
like you almost create your own pressure.
Better.
That's when you get clear. This is, by the way, I've heard this, and I might
when
be
I have
similar.
too much time, or I start panicking, going, I'll deal with that later.
And I get ADD. So I think I might be similar to you because when I would in school, I can recall you got 3 weeks to do this project. The ones that I did early almost always were a worse grade than the ones that I did 2 days beforehand or even the night before, where the brain just goes. It just, so I think I might agree with you. I think it sounds harsh the way you said it. Like, I procrastinate. I think people would take that and be like, procrastinate. That's not the way to get shit done.
Maybe the pressure part of it.
I think it's putting yourself in a position where your back's against the wall and it causes all the cylinders to work at max capacity.
It does. And college is a perfect example. I was the guy that did the all-nighters.
Yeah.
You had chemistry class. I remember I had chemistry class. I had to get a C or else I couldn't make it to the engineering class. And then, I waited to the last day to kind of really do it. And then I did it.
See, the organized folks could not stand the folks like you because they were working on it, going to the library, going back and forth and missing out on the parties. And then you were at all the parties. You were doing all the social stuff. You just kind of had a way about you. And then all of a sudden you just kind of buckled down the hatches and the night before, and then you go get a better grade. Oh my gosh.
And it's not that I was any smarter than anyone, because there was people that didn't have to study.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to study. I had to work hard.
Yeah. You just needed it to be compact, like in a compact time frame.
Yeah. I if that makes sense, that's kind of was the best way for me to perform, and I still do that to this day.
I love it. All right, I don't know if I would recommend that to people, but your personality type. I think I'm a similar personality type. I do way better when there's a deadline, it's up against the wall. It does tend to make me concentrate, and I struggle to concentrate otherwise, like if I have a long timeline. So I do enjoy that. We have a new segment we're calling Quick Hits. So Quick Hits is rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you a bunch of random questions. This is a get to know Chuck and how Chuck thinks. Could be completely off the wall, but give us your raw, organic, authentic answer.
Oh boy.
And we'll go from there. All right, you ready?
Let's go.
Quick hits. Here we go. Thin crust or deep dish?
Thin crust.
Really? Interesting. Chicago guy. Which one?
Let's
see if we can get him as a sponsor. Giordano's. I don't.
If I had to pick one of the named ones,
yes,
like that.
I think I would say Rosati's on the thin crust, and I would go Lou Malnati's on the deep dish.
I would go Lou on the deep dish. Now I got to have my fix of deep dish every so often.
You have to have it, but you can't have too much of it, or you lose sight of how beautiful it is.
And that's why I like the thin crust. Yeah, because I don't want to end my meal in a minute and be like, now what? I want to have a couple beers and have a few slices of it.
There you go. So thin crust on the regular, deep dish to kind of splurge and celebrate.
Yep.
Patty of meat, patty of sausage, or just cheese, or how do you do it?
I like my sausage.
I gotta have the sausage.
I got my sausage. I like meat. I don't like pepperoni. It gets too oily on there. I like sausage. And then there was a place by my house that they called it it was like the mafia pizza. They would put Italian beef on it.
the beef pizza, yeah.
Giardiniera.
The peppers, sweet peppers, hot pepper.
It was like an Italian beef sandwich that they would make.
Beautiful. If they put a little au jus sauce on it, a little bit of the sauce, come on. So those of you that have never had a Lou Malnati's pizza, it's a deep dish butter crust pizza. It's almost like the thickness of a pie, but it's the crust. Then they put the mozzarella cheese down. Then they put a patty of sausage. So just picture the circle. It's a wheel of sausage. I mean, it's one piece.
It's like a big hamburger.
So every bite has a piece of sausage. It's not like the little rolled up balls. And then they put chunks of tomato sauce. We're talking about like it's a whole tomato you're biting into. And it's sweet and salty and it's like everything. But you can't eat it every night.
No,
because you'd be 480 pounds by the end of the year.
Yeah, you won't live to
it. It's definitely a treat.
It is.
Okay, quick hit.
Yes,
ready?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Favorite team, Cubs or White Sox?
Cubs.
Cubs. Favorite player of all time?
On Cubs or
on the Cubs?
On the Cubs. Oh, that's Ryan Sandberg.
Okay, we're best friends. No better second baseman.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely brilliant. Okay, so if you could be any of these things, what would you choose? If you could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Chicago Bears, the captain of a Stanley Cup championship Chicago Blackhawks team, or the ace World Series winning pitcher for the Chicago Cubs? Which one would you choose?
I need a 3-sided quarter to play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And if you got one, we're going to go with hustle people.
Okay. I would say the Bears.
Bears,
The
star quarterback?
Yeah.
That leads me to this question. You've watched now 6 Caleb Williams games, 4-2. Do we have a quarterback?
I think so. I'm not going to get too excited.
Yeah.
I gotten too excited with the Grossmans and the Trubisky's and all that
Cade
stuff.
McNown.
And I'm not going to – Cade McNown. I mean, we could go on and Cutler.
When they traded for Cutler, the whole office, we just left the building, the owner included, 800 employees. We just went to the bar.
I know.
We were like, what just happened? We just got Cutler, all-pro quarterback.
We're so desperate.
And then they could never put it together.
No.
It was unreal. The best year he had, Urlacher broke his hand the first game, like first quarter of the first game.
I remember that.
And that was his best season. And then he gets hurt in the playoffs. It was like, man, we could just never put it together. It was unbelievable. So God, I
get too excited. The letdown is too much. I'm not getting that, but I like what I see so far.
Okay, so retirement is not too far away, right?
Can't wait.
You said you probably will struggle to retire because you're somebody who gets shit done, and you'll probably retire and start another company.
I'll probably start golfing. Figure out how to golf.
No, let's not do that. That is not your lane, Chuck. Let's stay away.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, so retirement.
Yes.
And this is a mutual. I would have a feeling you've discussed this with your wife. Ultimate place you would retire. What would you be doing? Where would you go? What's the place?
I always like, speaking of the Cubs, remember Joe Madden?
Yeah.
You ever hear him talk about what he would like to do?
The RV.
He's going to have some tiki bar
Yeah.
in the Keys with pink flamingos all
Mm-hmm.
and playing some, Jimmy Buffett music and talking with people and serving drinks. That sounds good.
You'd be an awesome bartender at a resort.
That's always been like a
you
fantasy
could
of mine.
talk about anything.
I want to be a maitre d' or a bartender.
Yeah.
And when I talk to bartender, I go, I wish I was a bartender.
Have you ever been to, there was a restaurant in Lincolnshire called Gilardi's. You ever been to Gilardi's?
No.
He moved up. Now he's got a place called Philly G's. It's up in, it's like north, almost to the Wisconsin border.
Okay.
And the ultimate front man for a restaurant. He did card tricks.
Oh, yeah.
If you went there once, he remembered your name. He knew your wife's name. He knew what you drank. Just the ultimate guy. I could picture you doing that, but at a tiki bar where everybody who came to that bar, you'd know their name after the first time they came there. You'd have a story every time. You'd be doing some sort of trick. Does that sound like?
Yeah, and I would just ad-lib it like we're talking right now. No, and just meet people and kibitz with people. It'd be more for me than them.
Did you just say kibitz?
Kibitz.
You just did a kibitz.
Yeah, kibitz. I don't know where that came from.
Do you know how many podcasts are out there right now that are not going to get a kibitz quote? You just brought that to our show. Thank you.
Maybe it's the first time.
It's the first one. If you come on the show and you drop a kibitz, you get an extra T-shirt or something like that. Ding, ding, ding.
That should happen in kibitz.
There you go.
But I would. Well, the part about remembering names, that ain't going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No,
okay.
I got a great memory. It really is good. It just doesn't last as long as it used to.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's maybe not as great of a memory.
It's good, but it doesn't last.
I've got a great memory. I just can't remember anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. Quick hits. So if you could start all over, what's one thing that you have learned over your time and your experience that if you could go back, you would have just changed a little bit? You would have modified. You would have done it just a little different.
Probably, I don't know what I would. I would probably not have, and it's in my DNA, procrastinate as much. I would have prepared more, like in college and life.
Yeah.
And right now, really, I wish I was.
Would that have worked for you though?
I don't know. I wish it would.
Yeah.
I wish it could. And still to this day, I go, okay, I'm going to start on that.
I feel like
Monday.
you'd be fighting against yourself.
And I do, and I still do, but I wish I could because it would make a lot less stress.
Probably would be less stressful.
That pressure is stress, but the stress works.
Yeah.
But I wish I didn't.
I wish I didn't have to be like this. This mad scientist. I wish you could do it a different way. Okay, so final question. Everybody that we've had on the show has left us with some sort of inspiration, whether it be advice or something that is passionate that they want to say to the audience? Up and comers, people, let's say, that are directors and want to get to the C-suite. Let's say they're an employee and they want to become an entrepreneur. What would be the best advice that you've learned or that somebody taught you that you could offer up to our listeners on how to get more shit done?
Number one, like I said, make it happen. You got to have the make it happen attitude and take pride in what you do, no matter how minuscule or trivial you think it is. Everything you do, you want to put your stamp and your signature on it, no matter what it is, and be proud of what you did. Because in business, people recognize that hard work. In business, politics and popularity contest, that's out the door. Mm-hmm. Because if that's the way your business is run and favoritism, that business ain't going to last. True managers and owners recognize the talent and get through the bullshit. And they realize the people who have pride and work hard. And you grind, work hard, make it happen, and just take pride and keep the window of opportunity open. Always keep your eyes open and look, because then it happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. If you grind and work hard and take pride and really take pride in that and treat your job like it's your own business, treat your job like it's your own business. And you get recognized, and before you know it, you look in the rearview mirror going, holy shit, I came a long way.
I love that.
I do. I'm not the smartest guy or the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that's what I do, and it worked.
Well, it's worked quite well. And I want to tell you what I get from that is the beauty of the law of averages. And if you work hard and you're busy, you find busy, like you just constantly are on the grind, it's going to work out. You just have that attitude for it, that make it happen attitude. And the law of averages will play out for you.
It does. And sometimes, when it's rainy and gloomy and things seem depressed, if you keep doing it, it's gonna work.
Yeah. Winston Churchill, if you feel like you're going through hell, just keep going.
That's right. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
just
it.
Keep going.
Yep, that's the way it is. It will work. It will happen.
All right, Chuck. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
You.
Ladies and gentlemen, check out Faspro. That's Faspro. Maybe you're not the person who needs their service, but maybe you know somebody who does. And if you haven't fallen in love with Chuck yet, I don't know, maybe go get checked at the doctor, because this is a guy who's filled with personality, and they've been doing cutting-edge work. And, of course, if you've got a fantastic project for Chuck, it's Acu Pro. Let the creative juices go. Chuck's got you from start to finish. And right. Chuck, I want to remind you, sir, you got shit done.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Sweet.
Can your business handle 15% growth? If yes, you have to engage with 2020 Design. They fuse data and creativity to stop the scroll, break through the noise, and grab the attention of your future customers. 2020 Design will create competitive, click-worthy campaigns, design and build custom websites, spark your social media presence, and structure email campaigns that get right to your audience, the decision maker. Let's boost attention and awareness, which allows you to convert more sales. Check them out at 2020design.com. That's the number 20, TWENTY design.com.